until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle. All activities to mark the 23rd anniversary of the creation of Osun State was suspended as attention shifted to the Election Petition Tribunal, which is entertaining the People's Democratic Party's challenge of the result of the August 9 governorship election in the state. The battle started with main gladiators in the election, the PDP and the APC, filing an application for leave to assess and inspect all materials used by the Independent National Electoral Commission for the conduct of the poll. Rashid was at the Election Tribunal sitting in Osogbo and filed in this report.
The August 9th election in Osun State was mainly a battle between the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Iyola Omishore, and that of the All Progressives Congress and incumbent Governor Rauf Aregbesola. As the result was announced, Iyola Omishore vows to challenge the result at the election tribunal. The lead counsel for Iyola Omishore, Afolabi Fashanu, and Wale Afolabi, standing for Rauf Aregbesola, sought the leave of the courts to inspect the ballot materials used for the August 9th election.
We came to seek leave of court for the purpose of examining electoral materials that were used during the last election.
That they could not, by any stretch of imagination, have that kind of number of votes that they have. So we want to inspect all those materials, the ballot papers used, all the electoral materials used. We'll be able to defend in our petition.
The court premises was filled to the brim with supporters of the PDP. The reason for this? Not far-fetched. Iyola Omishore was in court and speaks with journalists on the alleged election manipulation of the APC.
The PDP is here to challenge the results of the rigged election. And you can see that that's the only thing that's saving the peace in this state. So we will now expose the massive rigging, malpractices, ballot stuffing, and ballot manipulation and carriage of ballot boxes to the public to see that APC has no place in this state.
As the battle leaves the streets for the courtroom, both counsels speak of their expectations when petition is finally submitted and sitting starts.
After that, will assist you to know where things went wrong, particularly from the side of either INEC or APC. So to foster at least our chance.
When they fight the election petition properly before the court, we are going to meet them paragraph by paragraph, word for word. We are ready for them.
Omishore, however, admonishes his supporters and party faithfuls to be calm as they are coasting to victory.
We believe that the will of people must tie off over the rigging of the people of PPC. And sincerely, this court will determine the actual winner of the 9th of August elections peacefully and in a more civilized environment, unlike the thuggery and violence being perpetrated or created by APC.
The tribunal awaits the petition of both parties as they might have concluded the inspection of the election material. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Meanwhile, the Osun State government is fully in support of the class action filed by about 700 members of the All Progressives Congress against security agencies over alleged arrest and detention during the recent election. Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Research, Planning and Policy Implementation, Olusegun Bada, stated this in an interview with CoreTV News in Abuja. He argued that only people on ground can fully understand the manner APC members were treated by security operatives before and during the election.
Go to court, some other citizens, civil society organizations will go to court. People were traumatized. Senator Adeleke did not run away, escape from his house. He has to sleep in his grandmother's house. It was essentially disenfranchised because of the militarization. That's one. Mr. Fakurede from Ora, an elder statesman who is about 80 years old, he's a lawyer. He was driven and incarcerated, manhandled. There were so many of our friends who were beating with like even Lai Mohammed. You see, intimidation itself is a psychological thing. And if you distort somebody's cycle, in psychoanalytical theory, it's more damaging than physical damage. So 40 billion, I even believe, is even too small. It was a terrible scenario. You need to be on ground. It's rather sin than just being than you hearing about it. We were on ground. They were bragging. They were not ready to do elections. But the people, it was the will of the people, the resolve of the people that, look, this election must hold and our votes must count.
Reactions have continued to trail the impeachment of the Deputy Governor of Enugu State, Sunday Onyebuchi. Many have described it as ridiculous and a sad reflection of executive recklessness. Olajumoke Olatunji has more.
Barely a month after allegations of gross misconduct were leveled against the Enugu State Deputy Governor, Sunday Onyebuchi, the state finally impeached him. The development was the climax of the 36-day battle, which began on July 22nd when 22 of the 24 State House of Assembly members, in a resolution, accused Onyebuchi of illegality and flagrant disobedience to the directives of the state's chief executive. The embattled deputy governor told the impeachment panel set up by the state's chief judge that the state's governor, Sullivan Chime, equally operates a piggery in the government's house. Onyebuchi revealed that the state's government had budgeted for the maintenance of the poultry since 2011. The embattled deputy governor would tender the state's budget between 2011 and 2014 to support his claims, says funds had already been provided for the poultry the governor operated. The impeachment proceedings by the Enugu State House of Assembly moved on, and ultimately the deputy governor was sacked on August 26. Reacting to this development, the deputy chairman of the Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, Funsho Logunde, says the continuous impeachment in the Nigerian politics is becoming ridiculous and a sad reflection of executive recklessness.
From what we hear, the governor is sponsoring his own chief of staff, who hails from the same senatorial district with the deputy governor. And so here we are. That impeachment was done for personal motives, not in the interest of the state. And that is the ridiculous extent to which impeachment has been subjected.
A constitutional lawyer, Fred Agbaje, believes that the just concluded impeachment of the deputy governor of Enugu State is a display of the deep weakness of the Nigerian judiciary.
The rate and manner which impeachment has been carried out in Nigeria, regrettably, is to weaken democracy and ultimately turn whatever gains that have emanated from good governance on its head. So it is like what has happened in Enugu State now, because they say somebody is rearing a poultry. To quote for goodness sake, how does the rearing of a poultry affect the office of a deputy governor? We are talking of things that will affect your performance as either governor or deputy governor. How has the running of poultry affected the performance of the deputy governor? So these are the questions, because we have descended to a level of embarrassing banality. Banality in the sense that whatever comes to the mind of the members of the House of Assembly can become is classified as gross misconduct. It is wrong.
The deputy governor, Sunday Onyebuchi, has vowed to take his case before higher courts, a clear indication that the last has not been heard of this impeachment saga that has put the state in the political spotlight. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
President Goodluck Jonathan on Wednesday met with key leaders of the People's Democratic Party and the leadership of the party's National Assembly caucus. Some members of the federal cabinet also participated in the session that was held immediately after the Federal Executive Council meeting at the presidential villa. PDP spokesman Olisa Metu described it as an emergency meeting aimed at working out plans to promote government's transformation agenda.
Between the Federal Executive Council members the National Working Committee members, and the leadership of the National Assembly, PDP caucus. The meeting discussed a lot of issues. The most important thing being the interface between the executive, legislature, and the party with a view to promoting and publicizing the ideals, the achievements of the transformation agenda of the government, and to ensure that we continue to gain the confidence of Nigerians. Being the only party that promotes the unity and progress of Nigeria and that covers all national interest, we want to ensure that our people will continue to have faith in the party. The meeting set up a small committee to continue to dialogue and promote these ideals.
It's the CoreTV News on the hour. Take a break and we'll be back with more reports. Please stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thank you for being there. In spite of Nigeria's success in treating Ebola patients, health authorities say the country has not totally eliminated the disease. Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu says the country remains at risk for as long as there is free cross-border movement. The minister, who spoke with State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, insists that there is no need to close Nigeria's borders because of the Ebola virus.
We only stop being at risk when the very last case of Ebola viral disease under this current epidemic has gone. But please, let's educate our people, because I heard that even some people now, since this morning, have been holding parties. The party should be suspended. Please, we still have a case in Nigeria, and it may still be possible. It's still possible that we can still have 1, 2, or 3 more cases before we stop having cases, because there are people under surveillance. So if we are sure there's no more problem, there'll be no need to put them under surveillance. It's because there's still that chance that one of them may become sick. We test, it becomes positive, and I will still announce it. So we've done well on containment, but by no means have we eliminated the problem in Nigeria. It's just that Nigeria has a success story to tell the rest of the world. But let's also balance. We shouldn't go into panic, but we shouldn't go into euphoria, just to maintain that balanced, study, disciplined mien and comportment. That is what is required of Nigeria. We are doing well, but it's not over. The problem is not over.
Cameroon army has killed 27 Boko Haram insurgents in a gun battle near a border town with Nigeria. The Cameroonians say the insurgents crossed into their territory earlier this week, but were repelled. A state-run radio station announced that the Boko Haram element were killed on Monday and Tuesday in Fotokol, but was silent on casualties on Cameroon's side. It's claimed the insurgents had been pushed back into Nigeria and the area is now calm. Meanwhile, the Cameroon military has denied that over 480 Nigerian soldiers who entered the country defected. Its spokesman Didier Badjek says on The Voice of America that allegations made in a section of the Cameroonian media were unfounded. He added that they were particularly careful over the presence of the Nigerian soldiers, especially as Boko Haram elements could also disguise as a regular army and attack. The deteriorating security situation in the country, which has pitted the Nigerian military with insurgents, especially members of the dreaded Boko Haram, insurgents has remained a cause for concern. Guest analysts at the Wednesday's edition of Core Digest, CoreTV News flagship breakfast show describes the development as a critical ailment in need of an urgent solution. One of the analysts, who is a retired Army Colonel, Adetunji Ajayi, traced the origin of the rot in the system to the administration of former military President Ibrahim Babangida.
It's a misnomer. It's abnormal. One of my subordinate officers, a general retired, called me. He was so exasperated. He said, "Oga, what are we people doing? Can't we help these people to solve this problem?" Believe me, when we were in service, when we were moved to southern Lebanon, you know, I was a company commander. My soldier look here and there. They throw away the bulletproof jacket. There's a banner, so what they do with it. They threw away the bulletproof jacket. They couldn't wear bullet. They put on their uniform. And they were going on patrols at night. They were chasing. They confronted Israeli Defense Force, confronted PLO, this same Nigerian army that defended the territorial integrity of Kenya during the colonial time, that defeated the Italian army in Ethiopia and hosted the British flag on the Italian position. If today it would have been Nigerian flag. But you find that the decay in the military started in the last phase of our respected general's rulership, General Babangida, and it totally went worse during the Abacha regime, when the only thing there was tenure survivor of the Kube military administration was the security system being developed.
For its part, legal practitioner and human rights campaigner Malachi Ugumadu says the situation could snowball into anarchy if treated with a kid glove.
It's in the hands of its cohesive apparatus, i.e. the military, inclusive. And you're already talking of a decay in that institution. You are as well talking about the last bus stop before anarchy. To have that against the backdrop of the general decay in other institutions of government is to cut for serious trouble. And I'm not trying to sound alarmist here.
Core Digest is Core TV flagship program, 9:30 in the morning all through till 11. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation is soliciting the assistance of the police in protecting its pipelines and checking the theft of crude oil. NNPC Group Managing Director Joseph Doha made the request when he visited the Acting Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba. Police spokesman Emmanuel Chiku says in a statement that Dawa also solicited assistance for the protection of his top management staff. Abba, in his response, assured the NNPC leadership of the police readiness to give maximum protection to oil facilities and other critical national infrastructure. The Federal Executive Council has approved a number of contracts for the power sector worth over 4.2 billion naira as part of efforts to boost electricity generation in the country. The contracts are for the construction of a 132 kV transmission line and two 132 by 33 kV substations in Ifite-Dunu and Onitsha in Anambra State. Information Minister Labaran Maku and his power counterpart Chinedu Nebo briefed journalists in the outcome
program
of the meeting.
To stabilize power in Nigeria brought a memo seeking Council's approval to provide transmission infrastructure to increase power supply in parts of Anambra State, particularly between Onitsha and Ifite-Dunu, which communities really represent today the country's effort at small-scale industries and commercial activities. These communities lying between Onitsha and Ifite-Dunu in parts of Anambra State are known for their industry and known for their commercial activities, and unfortunately power has always been a problem in terms of increasing their capacity to produce for the country.
The Federal Executive Council approved the award of contracts for the engineering design, manufacture, supply, construction, and commissioning of Onitsha Ifitedunu 132 kV transmission line, and second, 2 by 60 MVA 132 by 33 kV substation at Ifitedunu for the Transmission Company of Nigeria, PLC. And that contract is in favor of Messrs. MBH Power Limited in a total sum of 2.15 billion, including VAT, contingency, way leave issues, etc. The communities that will benefit from this, just to name a few, include Oka, which is the capital territory of Anambra State, Ifitedunu, Onitsha, Nnewi, Obosi, etc. These communities, as I indicated earlier, could be regarded as the industrial, manufacturing, and small and medium enterprises belt of the entire geopolitical zone.
It's the CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take another break and we'll be back with a story outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
IMF chief Christine Lagarde has announced she had been charged with negligence over a multi-million-euro graft case relating to her time as French finance minister. The shock announcement came a day after she was grilled by a special court in Paris that probes cases of ministerial misconduct. This is the fourth time she has faced such questioning in a case that has weighed upon her powerful position as managing director of the International Monetary Fund. She responded no when asked by journalists whether she intended to resign from the IMF. The case relates to a handling of a 400 million euro state payout to disgraced French tycoon Bernard Tapie in 2008.
Investigating Commission of the Court of Justice of the French Republic has decided to place me under formal investigation. After 3 years of procedure, the only surviving allegation is that, through inattention, I may have failed to block the arbitration that put an end to the long-standing Tapie litigation. I have instructed my lawyer to appeal this decision, which I consider totally without merit. I return back to Washington, where I will indeed brief my board.
And that's all we have for you for this hour. Join us again, top of the hour for more. And Core Digest will start in a short while. Thank you for watching. I am Ebulomo Adekunle.